Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of CUNY Uncut, where we talk about anything and everything, uncensored, unedited, and uncut. And as a student in the CUNY system, in one of the biggest public universities across the country, in the biggest city across the country as well, it can sometimes feel like it's a little hard to hear your voice and feel like you're being heard. And there are people out there that are really trying to make sure that your voice is not only heard, but also listened to. And one of those ways is through student government. And student government sometimes gets a bad rap, but one of the best examples of student government is right across from me here today. Joining me in the CUNY Uncut studio today is the 38th chairperson of the University Student Senate and student trustee of the City University of New York, Daniel Redden. Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely amazing, David. Thank you for having me on CUNY Uncut. I've seen a lot of your work, and I'm blown away by the professionalism and just you as an interviewer.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm blown away by your story. And not only are you, the chairperson of the University Student Senate and the student trustee, you do a ton of other stuff. You're also at CUNY School of Professional Studies as a business major as well, and you're on a bunch of different boards. You're in the Student Association, the SBS Governing Council. You're on the Committee on Institutional Equity and Diversity, and the president of the Black Student Union. So before we get into all the amazing things that you've been doing, I really am in awe by your story and the way that you ended up at CUNY, because you haven't been here for too long. So can you tell me about what that journey has been like for you getting into the CUNY system?
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go back to 2020, right after high school, I joined Kingsborough Community College. But just like many other New Yorkers who work and go to school, it was a lot, right? It was a lot to juggle and handle, especially coming right out of high school and not really having the support system. So I chose work. And in hindsight, that was the wrong choice to make. And I didn't make my way back to CUNY years later. And just worked, and eventually ended up being a waiter. First a doorman, but I got sent to a random waiting shift, and where the money resides. So I took it just purely by chance. I was waiting for Casa Cipriani, which is a luxury hotel and event space who has multiple locations across the world and 4 locations in the city. And I was waiting at a fundraising gala for a nonprofit organization called NPower. Now, NPower is a nonprofit that helps people of color from the ages of 18 to 26 and veterans as well start their career in technology through a 16, now 20-week program where they learn professional development, they learn IT, the fundamentals, they get certified, and then they get connected to a job through one of the amazing sponsors that sponsors NPower. So I'm working this event, I'm passing out Bellinis, I have a tux on, and I'm noticing that the people in the room look like me, right? And in these spaces, that's always, it's not always the case. So my antennas were kind of up, and I'm a very curious person. And so as I'm passing out Bellinis during the cocktail portion of the program, I'm asking people questions. I'm like, hey, what's NPower? What's going on here? Tell me more. And the floor captain is like, stop talking to the guest. And I'm like, I'm the doorman, bro. Like, I'm picking up a shift. Like, I didn't really
You weren't supposed to be there, but you were.
I'm here now, so I'm going to do what I do. And an opportunity isn't that if you don't take advantage of it, right? And so a guy by the name of Cameron Clark goes on stage, looks like me, has waves. Like, although my waves aren't spinning yet. He had cut and wolfing. But he was in the military, and he got medically discharged due to an aneurysm, and he didn't really have a sense of direction or knew what he wanted to go and do next. And so he found NPower by chance, and now he's the VP of Accenture, which is a pretty big tech company.
Wow.
And so that story inspired me. And I'm Nigerian, so my dad, his voice came in my head. He's like, Dane, it doesn't have to head though. If you can do it, you can do it. You know, so I'm like, all right. I asked my table, do you want red wine or white wine? But also like, yo, where's the admissions people? Like, I'm trying to find a table, like, you know what I'm saying? So I walked on over there after they showed me. And they asked me some questions like, hey, how old are you? 20. Where do you live? Brooklyn. Do you have a high school diploma? Yes, you qualify. So I went home that same night and I applied. 3 rounds of interviews, I got in.
Lovely.
And I went through the program. I got certified in IT, graduated, and when I graduated, they hired me.
Wow.
And to be able to give back to a organization that gave so much to me was such a full circle moment. But the real full circle moment was when I came back to Casa Cipriani as a guest at the fundraising gala that I found them at. And so I got certified in IT. And CUNY SBS partnered with NPower to turn that IT certification into college credits through the CUNY School of Professional Studies, the online school at CUNY, the best school in playing. I gotta show some love. I gotta show some
Of
love.
course, you got to represent.
You feel me? And they provided so much flexibility for me because it's an online school, so I'm able to work and go to school at the same time. And I know that's such a golden thing for people in the city and parents and people who have things to do and work and all these different responsibilities that we have to just survive. So I went to CUNY SBS.
Well, tell me a little bit about SBS. I feel like there's a pretty low enrollment in comparison to some of the other traditional campuses. So kind of tell me about what a day-to-day life is like there and how that flexibility has allowed you to do more things within the CUNY system.
Absolutely. It's about 4,000 students, give or take, that goes to CUNY SBS. And most of them are people who have a job, right? And so the makeup of the CUNY SBS student body is about, I would say, 70% graduate students and people who are returning back to school to increase their value to the marketplace. So that would make up the student body mostly. And a day-to-day for a CUNY SBS student is whatever the CUNY SBS student schedule permits. It's an asynchronous online school. So as long as you get those assignments in before the deadline, you could be in Bali, and making it happen.
Yeah, well, I'm jealous of anybody who's doing class in Bali because, doing it here in this, it's not, being on vacation must be nice. Absolutely. But now I want to kind of get into the things that you've been doing with USS, and I wanted you to first kind of explain what the process of the University Student Senate is like, because not too many people, I think, know about it.
Yeah, and I think that's a shame, and that's one of the reasons why I was adamant on coming on here, right, is to increase the visibility of what USS is and what they do. It's the chief student government organization for all CUNY students across all campuses. So we have a delegation, a body of delegates that are made up from each and every school. Some schools send 2, some schools send 3. Think of like your electoral college, right?
Gotcha.
And that body could be the president of the school. It could be a delegate or a senator from their student government, but you have to be a student government member. And that delegation meets once a month, and they pass resolutions that are in favor and for the CUNY students. One of the resolutions that we passed recently was to get behind the USS Commuter Grant Pilot Program, a unified resolution to get behind that. And we submitted that to the Chancellery. Had a call with the Senior Vice Chancellor of CUNY and let him know that even though there is a transition, that this is very important, free MetroCards for CUNY students. And so that's the chief legislative ask and push that my predecessor, Sally Matu, started and that I'm here to finish. And that's what USS is pushing and is in a nutshell. I can obviously go into a lot more detail.
Well, yeah, it seems like you've hit the ground running. I don't think that you've been there for incredibly long. What has it been, 4 months or something like that?
The election results were certified in November.
Yeah, 4 months. Well, tell me about that process of really running for this position. And you had just joined CUNY,
in January.
In January.
Last
so
year, yeah.
How did you know that this was something that you wanted to go into?
Well, I feel called by a higher source, God, Yahweh, Allah, the ultimate intelligence. Whenever I'm in a pivotal position, one of those moments was in that ballroom when I was serving and the fundraising gala for NPower. And another one was when I met Sally Matu Doumbouya at the USS retreat. How did I get there? CUNY SBS is an online school, right? So they don't really have much of a campus, the traditional college life. When you think college, it's not what CUNY SBS is. So I got an email just randomly asking, it was a notice, right, of a student government meeting. It was open to the public. And I said, why not? I think that's the story of my life. Why not, right?
You have to go for it, right?
You do. Yeah, you really do. I mean, take every opportunity that comes your way. What's the worst that can happen, right? You just go back to living the life that you already have. The best is you have an entirely new line of reality that you can enter, right?
Yeah.
But then I got the email. I went. I sat in. And 2 things struck me. Number 1 was the voting and the decorum and the responsibility, the sense of responsibility that these students had. And they're making decisions that affect every single student, and they're using these student activity fees that every student pays. Right? And so you'd want to have someone that cares. And so they're making these decisions and planning these events, and I love stuff like that. I love just project managing. I love manifesting things into reality. I love taking thoughts which are as real as this table that we're at, right, and just bringing it to this physical realm. That was the first thing. The second thing was they had a cruise that they planned.
Ooh, okay.
And I would have not known about it if I didn't go. And I ended up going, and I met some of the student leaders at CUNY SBS, and we hit it off, and they said, you should run next year. And this was last August. So I ran, and I got in. I'm a part of the CUNY SBS Student Government Association, and I loved it. Now, how did I get from there to USS? Sojung Shu, I'm going to always shout her out. She's amazing. She said, Daniel, you should think about USS. She was the vice chair for technology fee affairs at USS. So she obviously was heavily involved, and she was just watching me. And she came up to me and said, you should join. So I was a little apprehensive at first, like, what is USS? Like, more work?
Yeah.
But then they were like, we're going to a retreat at Villa Roma Resort in the Catskills for the orientation.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah, might as well.
Might as well. I mean, all right. So I went. I asked my student life director, Anthony Sweeney, if I can be a delegate for USS. He said I got to get voted on. I got voted in. And I went. And the first impression, right, I'm on a bus. I'm going up to upstate, and I'm with these students. And at the end of it, I form friendships that I think will last a lifetime. And we arrive, and I meet Sally Matu, right? And she planned the whole event, and everyone's speaking so highly of her. I like that, and I wanted to go up to her and just say, like, who are you and stuff. But she introduced herself. She was the first one to speak. She told us what USS was. She told us a little bit more about herself, but then she ended and said, this is my last term. I can't run again. I'm at a limit. So one of you, pointing at the room, are going to be up here next year. And I was like, okay, so who's going to fill your shoes? Because they look pretty big, right? Yeah. And I'm the type of person not to go up and ask, so I went up and asked her that. And so I went up and asked her that. And when I asked her who's going to fill your shoes, person I ended up running up against actually said, I'm going to run. So that was interesting. And I said, okay. With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben, hello.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Come on now, big love Marvel. I actually won a Marvel book during the resort.
Okay.
The orientation. I knew like all the Marvel movies. It was kind of embarrassing.
I've watched them all too. I'm a big nerd.
Yeah. So met Sally Matu, and that conversation kind of ended after that happened. And so the following day, I'm at the pool and swimming and stuff, and she's there just sunbathing, and I'm just like, okay, like. This is a great opportunity for me to have a conversation. So I went up to her and we talked, and she told me everything, like just how she was a first-year delegate when she ran, and how people didn't really believe, and she just stuck with it, and all of the trials and tribulations that she went through during her first election, it lit a fire in me, and I felt that same tug, that sense of urgency, that sense of clarity that I felt at that Empower fundraising gala. So this is what I got to do.
And you knew it from there.
And I attacked it.
Yeah, and it seemed very inspiring to you. And your campaign run was also very interesting to me, because I feel like you were doing something that maybe not a lot of other people who were running were doing. And you were going to these different campuses, introducing yourself, saying, hi, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And I feel like that's so powerful. Can you tell me about what that felt like, going to each campus and really introducing yourself to the student body?
In my mind, that's the only way you can faithfully serve these students that elect you to be in this privileged position. It's the only way. You have to put your feet on the ground. You have to go there, and you have to have a conversation and see what it is that is important to them, right? You have to feel the energy and the characteristics and the vibes of each campus, because they're all different, and everyone has something that's important to them that they won't really say off over an email, right? You have to go up to them and bring that out of them and make them feel comfortable, right? And that's what I did. And so when I reached out to, I think I visited like 13 campuses in the span of a month.
Out of the 25, that's a good percentage.
I'm going to Hunter on the 19th. See you guys there.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
But it was a heavy lift, and all thanks to my, all glory and credit to my team. I ran with 9 vice chairs. So let me give you the rundown of the chair positions and how I was able to, do this, right? There is a chair, right? sitting before you. Then there is the Vice Chair for Legislative Affairs, York College President Akeem Pollock, amazing person. Then we have the Fiscal Affairs Vice Chair, Ms. Tahisha Fields, the GSA President of Baruch. Then we have the community colleges, the Vice Chair for Community Colleges, Daima Martinez, President of Hostos. Then we have the Vice Chair for International Students, John Jada from LaGuardia, who's the president over there. And then we go down the list and we have Junior Andrews, the president, the vice chair for part-time and evening affairs. And we have Josiah Ramsar, the vice chair for graduate students. He's also the president of CUNY Law. And then we have Tatiana McLaren, the vice chair for disability affairs. And then we have Wei Chong, the vice chair for technology. He goes to City Tech. And Tatiana also goes to York with Akeem.
Wow. So it seems like it's really spread out among the different campuses. How difficult is it to kind of have that reach to all these different places? I mean, it's a huge system, 240K students? How do you try and reach that many people and really make an impact and make sure that everybody's voice is being heard?
Absolutely. I mean, during the campaign, what I did was just organize the team and just said, hey, we got to go here. You reach out to this person and hopefully you can set up that meeting and the tour and you go over. It's by committee and it takes a village, right? And that was the campaign. Everyone had a job to do and we did it. And we ended up all winning our individual elections. But in terms of the role now and how do you shrink CUNY, I think, in the 1800s, it would have been a much harder thing
carrier
to do.
pigeons and, horses and wheel, all those things. But
yeah, everyone has a phone in their hand now, right? And we have the advent of social media and technology. Mm-hmm. And I think that's underutilized and something that we've been using and something that we'll continue to use to reach everyone. And events as well, I think is a great way to bring students out and to have a reason to go, mm-hmm. right, to wherever you need to be. But most importantly, it's just caring and wanting to, right.
I was also curious because I know that you have a background in technology. You care a lot about AI and all those sorts of things, but you really value the personal interactions that you have with people face to face. So how do you kind of combine those and shape it together to really make those meaningful experiences? Is it a realistic ask to, as non-student governments, students at regular CUNY schools to visit other campuses for different events? And is that a realistic ask?
I think AI makes life so easy. CUNY students, if you know, you know.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But it's them damn phones, right? It really is it's so distracting. When you're inundated with screens and you're inundated with ads and notifications and everyone has access to you, we're not evolutionarily supposed to be in this position, And so balancing that with that human interaction, I think is the balance that I've found. I always value an in-person conversation than a Zoom. Because there's little micro behaviors, there's aura, there's an electromagnetic field that I'm pushing out, that you are pushing out. There's so much more than just words. There's communication from all aspects, from all sides and facets. And so that stuff's left out when you meet and talk to a glass screen. And so that's part of the reason why I went to every campus and that time allowed, and part of why I'm going to continue.
Well, now that you have been I know that you've been running around to all these different campuses as of late. You're at City College, you're at Baruch, you're at Hunter, you're at the community colleges. You're going all over the place. But what can CUNY students do to kind of help you and help push for the things that they're asking for?
Absolutely. Just USS is the channel to administration. I sit as a board of trustee for CUNY. So I am in these rooms voting on things that affect everyone and everything CUNY. The body of USS forms the resolutions, it forms the proposals, it forms the event, it forms everything in the direction that I go, but so do the students, right? So what I want students to do is come to our meetings. They're open to the public, they're on our website. Definitely stop by. And there's a section in our agendas where it's announcements, right? And anyone from anywhere can come in and speak. We had Lo from CUNY Cares last meeting, and she just drived home the need for holistic student support, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's housing, whether it's mental health. And I'm really happy to have CUNY Cares as the first letter in our acronym for our legislative priorities in our agenda when we go up to Albany tomorrow.
Oh, up to Albany. So what are you guys fighting for in addition when you go up tomorrow?
Number one is free MetroCards for CUNY students. You said it yourself. I'm running around. It's $2.90 every swipe, dude. It adds up. But most importantly, dude, like I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and Brownsville, you feel me? And that Sutter stop is my train that I take every day. Now, there was a story that got a little bit of attention and then didn't. Of course, the news cycle. A man was going on the train, this train that I take every day, but he didn't swipe, he hopped. And so on the Sutter train station, the train, you can see it coming in from overhead, but if you run fast enough, you can catch it. I know from experience. And so that's what he did. But the police were stationed right at the bottom of the stairs, and he ran past them. So what they did is they came up, stopped the train. He called the train, stopped the train from leaving the station, and directed him to leave. They shot him.
Wow.
And they shot innocent bystanders, too. I mean, talk about giving anybody a gun, right? And not clearing and looking out for collateral or any crosshair. So that could have been me. That's a train that I take every day. There's times when I don't have $2.90 and I have to figure it out, right? So it's personally very important for me to personally, right? But then you think about the amount of slack that it'll be able to give students who have so much going on and economically, like people can't put their hands on $2,000 right now, and if there's an emergency, if they need to, right? So just having one less thing to worry about to give people more mental real estate, it's the biggest push that we're doing. 3 years of work by Salamatu Doumbouya. I'm here to finish it. We're here to finish it. That's the first one. The second one is CUNY Cares. The third one is the ADA recommended amount for CUNY to have in order to be compliant for our students with disabilities. It's $6.2 million, 2.1 from the state. It's 4.1 from the state, 2.1 from the city. And so our students with disabilities, I think, are one of the most disrespected populations. And honestly, it angers me. My older sister is autistic, and I've been taking care of her my whole life. And so it angers me personally as well. I recently went to the CUNY Adaptive and Inclusive Sports Wheelchair Basketball Tournament at Queens College. I'm a basketball fan. LeBron, he went to, you know what I'm saying? Luka went to the Lakers. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. But I love basketball. So when I got the invite to come, I jumped at it, right? And Ryan Martin, thank you so much. And those USS branded jerseys are coming very soon, guys. You know what I'm saying? But when I came and I watched the game, the intensity, the skill, the strength, upper body strength, the turn on a dime, crossing them up, shooting. You know, after the game, I got in the seat myself. Ryan was like, get in the seat, see how hard it is. I'm like, all right, you know, we'll say I sat at a chair and, dude, I was airballing bad. So my level of respect just went up crazy. But during the game, I was asking Ryan and the other program director, I was like, hey, like, what do you guys need? Like, what's going on? Like, and the list was a laundry list. It was trainers. They don't have, number one, the visibility, which is a travesty. They don't have the funding to it's a CUNY-wide league, right? And so the fact that there are only, you know, so and so, you know, students going there, I think is a travesty when there's 11,000 students with disabilities are registered in the Disability Services Office. It's probably much more than that, right? Because they're self-reported. I'd say the number is closer to 40, right? And if you take into account that it's more than 250,000 students that go here. And disabilities aren't just physical, they're mental and invisible. So funding for them, staff, clinical technicians, just that's very important to me. So those are just some of the things that we'll be pushing for tomorrow in Albany with USS and the students that are coming. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We also just had Crystal Jones on last week, who's a player on that CUNY adapted basketball team.
I saw that episode. I know who she is. I saw her at the game.
Yep, and she was amazing. She was also talking about more accessibility things, but that's a little bit more of the things that I sort of envision for you guys, trying to boost more awareness to different areas of CUNY that go underappreciated and they aren't talked about enough. And with USS, I kind of wonder what an everyday looks like for you. It seems like you're never in one place at one time. You're always going somewhere else and really trying to fight for the general CUNY students.
Yeah, you have to know who you're fighting for. right? And that's how I stay informed. I have an open channel of communication. A lot of people have my number. They call me and they text me and I answer, because it's important to be in constant conversation and have your ear to the streets, right? What does the day look like for me? I wake up at 6 a.m. I know, right? I work out, shower, then I head to the office right at 9. Well, 9:30, 10. Joseph's listening. Joseph, I'm not capping. All right, 10 o'clock. Okay. You feel me? And then so I get to the office and it's emails, right? It's emails from earlier in the week or from yesterday. It's emails that morning, answering emails, right? Making content. I think that's an important aspect and something that, stay tuned, USS content coming very soon.
Ooh,
something that we're working at to increase our visibility. And that's every day looks so different. It's meetings with Jay Hershenson, the founder of USS, breakfast at the Hilton earlier in the week. It's going and talking to Jeff Rodas, the Senior Vice Chancellor of Government Relations, and getting a briefing on what we're going to be doing up in Albany, right, and who to talk to and what to, you know what I'm saying? It's speaking with the Chancellor at his office and letting him know, like, hey, I'm here, and I'm here.
Yeah.
So every day looks different, but I guess the thread is my morning routine and then my night routine. Which is just reading. I like to read. I grew up reading. I was valedictorian of middle school. Gone into Brooklyn. Gone slightly. I'm gonna stop flexing. Could go on for hours, but I'm gonna chill. So, yeah, no. It's the night routine is just reading. It's taking care of my face. I know, like, it's a mess, right? The acne, whatever the case may be, all the stress. It's reaching out to the people that mean the most to me. It's calling my dad. It's calling my mom, who's in Nigeria currently. Mama, I love you. Hold it down. But yeah, that's a typical day. It's not really typical.
Well, okay, so you seem like you're doing so many things at once, but what are you hoping that viewers kind of take away from this conversation and how they can help you move forward with their own issues that's going on?
Yeah. I'm just doing what I can, right? How can viewers help me? Like I said before, USS is the channel. It's the routes to take if you have any concern that you want to bring to the board. I am part of the board, right? And I go to these meetings and I vote, right? So there's a student in there that's in these high-level decision-making rooms and meetings that's voting on behalf of you. So come to USS, to our meetings, reach out, come to our events, and just let us know what's on your mind, right? Constant conversation. That's all. That's it.
You got to be in contact. And you're somebody that has been fighting for everybody for, not so long, but it's going to continue for a long time. I know of it, and I can see that fire, that passion in you. And you really care about every person that you interact with. And I think that's so special and so important, especially in the role that you're in. So I really want to congratulate you on the work that you've done already and all the work that I know that you're going to continue to do.
Thank you, David. That means the world to me. And yeah, you're right. I am a fighter. I grew up in foster care. I had to take care of my sister and my twin. I've never really had a childhood, right? Take care of your twin. No. We took care of each other. Okay, David.
I didn't say it.
But but I've never really had a child. I've always been a man and an adult and had to advocate and speak on behalf of others who just don't have the ability or just don't have the opportunity. And so just carrying that thread, I feel like everything I've done in my life and every experience that I've had prepared me for this.
Well, I'm so glad that it's prepared you to the point that you're at now. We're so proud of everything that you've done and that you'll continue to do. And I don't think I need to wish you luck because I think you already got it covered. But I really am just in awe of you, and I'm so excited to see what else you do.
Thank you so much, David. And it's a pleasure being here to just talk and reach the students and reach CUNY.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Make sure you check out CUNY Uncut on social media and make sure to download the CUNY TV app. And as always, I'm your host, David Horn, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Kobe!